What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. This is going to be a quick episode. I just want to talk about the struggles of Nikola Vucevic as well as the Bulls bench. We'll get into it right after this. All right, so we know the Bulls are coming off a loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, and in that loss, the Bulls bench only scored 13 points, which I talked about in my video right after the game. Now, also, Nikola Vucevic, the Bulls starting center, has been having a historically bad season and just for what he's used to doing and contributing. Now, in my last video, somebody even commented that he's starting to play like Larry Markkinen. Now, we don't want to come down that strong on Vooch just quite yet. But the thing with Vooch is that he is having just a terrible season so far, according to the standards that he usually hits. And what does this do? It's really just shots not falling. The Bulls try to feed him. He even gets pretty good shots. It just seems like he hasn't quite gotten under rhythm quite yet. And how this contributes to the Bulls' overall offensive issues, I think personally, and we know the Bulls' offense is up there. It's in the top 10 of the league, but still, having Vooch just be at his full power and full contribution levels would almost send the Bulls into that top 5 as far as offensive rankings. Now, it just really seems like he doesn't quite have it. It seems like overall in this team, like the togetherness and everything that we saw them playing with and the fluidity seems to almost have gone away in the last few games. They're playing more iso ball. DeMar DeRozan, of course, is doing his thing, which is a lot of isolation as well. Zach LaVine seems to be forcing the issue some, and I know he has that thumb injury, but he's just at times not taking good shots. Overall, I really do think that Vooch's issues are real, right? But I do think he's going to work himself out of it. We're only 8 games into an 82 game season, so not even the 10th through the way of the season yet. The Bulls are going to get it together, I like to believe, and I believe Vooch is going to be a very big part of that. Once Vooch gets on track to what he usually contributes offensively, the Bulls, it's going to unlock so much of the Bulls game. I also think that's going to cut down on the isolation ball. I think it's going to open up things a little bit more for DeMar, for Ball, and for LaVine as well. I really do think, I'm not saying that Vooch is the key to the Bulls offense, but of course having Vooch and our center contribute much more than what he has been is going to help our game so much more. The bigger concern for me, especially in the longevity, I've already said a lot of what I look at with the Bulls and the way I critique this team are specifically built around how far I think they can go, right? I definitely think this team is playoff contenders. I definitely think that, they can go on a long run in the playoffs. But this bench scoring is going to have to figure itself out. And yes, Kobe's coming back. I don't think Kobe at all you can't look at him to be the answer to that. Coming off an injury, he's still being a young player himself. I don't want to hook all that into that. But this bench scoring is not going to cut it. It's just not. Bulls 13 bench points in the last game, not going to cut it at all. And what do they have to do? Yes, we have a very active bench, right? Active defensively, and when they are getting out on runs and they're playing in the pass lanes, it free up some more offense and everything else. But in the half court, when the game slows down and in these tough games, the bench just does not have the half court scoring to really sustain very much of anything. And that is going to be a problem the longer this team goes on. And if we don't address that, we're going to find ourselves on the other side of a lot of these tough games. And again, I don't want to overreact. I don't want to do anything like that. The Bulls have 2 losses out of 8 games. They're doing great, right? Offense, defense, both ranked very high, according to the league. But especially if we're going to be a team that has heart and has to fight back so much, something has to change here. I think Vooch being more aggressive and scoring at a better efficiency rate is definitely going to help the Bulls get out of some of those early deficits we find ourselves in. But as well, the Bulls bench, and I don't want to say that the Bulls have to do a trade immediately or anything like that. I know a lot of Bulls fans are calling for that. You'll hear a lot of that in the Bulls content creators and everything like that. But I think ultimately what it boils down to is we're not getting very many open shots. And even when because we don't go far into our bench, it means that one of the starters are already out there, are always going to be out there. It is important that we get back to that efficient offense, when we get back into playing team offense, where we get back to the ball moving around so much more fluidly than what it has been. Again, this isn't to call a panic after one tough game. The thing with that is, as much as we can talk about any downsides with the Bulls so far, they've been in every game, right? Whether they had to fight back into it or whatever else, but by the end of those games, they have been in every game so far that's happened this season. And that's what you want for your team. So those are all positives. I don't want to take away from it. I don't want to, the sky isn't falling, nothing like that. But at the end of the day, we have to sit back and honestly critique. And be goddamn right that the Bulls are probably doing this same thing as well to themselves, right? We're not going into like a tailspin like the Boston Celtics with their players only meetings. It's not a time for anything like that. But what it is a time for is an evaluation for what isn't working. When you have to keep coming back as often as the Bulls have been, whether you win, lose, or draw, something isn't working. You may get the win, but something is not working. And that's what's going on with this Bulls team right now. There are things that are not working. And I trust Billy Donovan. I trust Zach LaVine. I trust the players that are on this team and the pride and heart that we see when they're coming back to figure it out. But something needs to happen. The bench scoring is probably the biggest red flag to me. Yes, the Bulls getting out to early deficits is concerning as well. But I think, though, there's a path to fixing that. The bench scoring, there's not really a path to fix right now. I don't care who or how deep Billy Donovan is. Troy Brown has not looked good in his minutes thus far. Derrick Jones Jr. and Tony Bradley have looked great. Alex Caruso, we know what he provides defensively and just in moving the ball and everything else, but somebody has to put the ball in the basket off the bench. We don't have that quite yet. We don't have that. Something needs to happen overall. I wanted to get this video out to talk about it. Let me know down below, is the Bulls bench scoring is a red flag to you? And also, what do you think about Vucevic's slow start? Do you think he's going to be able to get it together? What do you think is ultimately going to happen? Like I said, I think Vucevic is going to get this together. I think 10 games from now, this probably isn't even going to be a conversation anymore. At least I hope that's what's going to happen. But that's it for me. Like I like to end every video on, go Bulls. I love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.